All right, today we're gonna go over the ring and the amulet crafting method, with which I made a whole bunch of money. Uh,
Yes.
for most of the league, I'm gonna show you most of the profits here. Amulets, there are some boots and some other things, but for the most part, quarter staves, rings, rings, some gloves, quarter staves, amulets, rings, amulets, a lot of rings, a lot of amulets. I will go over the gloves and the boots later, but there's a whole bunch of videos on it. But most of all of these profits, you could see rings, quarter staves. Especially some of the more expensive ones. My first 100 divine craft was a ring. Um, it was an unset ring. So there's a whole lot of stuff here. So I'm gonna find these on the recording here. I pulled up a search. Now I'm going to show you the search function. If you're profit crafting for an amulet, we can go projectile melee or spell skills. Melee is the cheapest one, so we'll find the cheapest base, but you can do this on a projectile or a spell skill or a minion, it doesn't matter. Make sure you set it to magic, make sure you do the corruption no, and the gold amulet is what everybody wants, so that's the base. Now, when we search for this, there are 4 divs. This is actually cheap. I've been buying these bases for 10 divs and still making a shitload of money on them. But if you don't want to spend the money, just get basic gold amulets and then you do the perfect transmute, perfect dog. Now, on average, it'll probably work out to a 2 or 3 div cost, but I just cannot be bothered with going to 20 hideouts and buying 20 amulets and dropping 20 perfect dogs and whatever else. I'm just going to go and I'm going to get these real quickly. Um, so while we're buying these amulets and while we're buying these rings, I'm going to go over the method overview. We have 2 good. We're going to start out with 1 good suffix. We're going to fix our suffixes first, and then we'll deal with the prefixes. That's just the general method for crafting jewelry. So we got 3 amulets, and that's plenty. Now, the next thing to do here is going to be rings. Now, for this search function specifically, I'm searching for cold damage because I'm making an unset ring, but you can search for any type of damage. Just make sure it's magic and not corrupted. Don't make that mistake. And the unset rings are just the most expensive ones at the moment because nobody makes them, but you can apply this method to gold rings and you can apply the same method to any other kind of ring. Now, a couple of notes here with the amulets and the rings. So with the ring, we're searching for specifically flat cold and any res, but all elemental res we do not want. So there's only 2 rings on the market. We're going to go ahead and snap up both of these with the way that I want these. So that's going to be our craft for today. That's a total of 5 items. And I wanted to make sure that I show you how I buy these also. Now, again, same thing. You want to make them, you can make them. You can self-source this. So first things with the amulet. We got the trash prefix. If you find one without the prefix, go ahead and perfect dog it. So you can slam on the trash prefix yourself. If you don't, it is what it is. We can always deal with this. We're just going to turn this into global defenses. That's super, super easy. But one thing I will tell you is if you can get this with energy shield, then the amulet is worth all of a sudden 10 or 12 divs. So, and it makes the craft easier. It's a little bit less RNG gamba. So with this, this is a very RNG craft. I will tell you this is for profit, which means that you have an opportunity to fail. This is the way you self craft these, if you're going to, is you make 5 amulets or 10 amulets or 5 or 10 rings, and then you just pick what you want to use for yourself and sell the rest. And that's the way to really approach a lot of these self crafts and profit crafts. If you make a single instance of a ring, it could break so hard you will hate yourself. So this is a craft for people that have a little bit of money, maybe 30, 40 divs to start this. You don't want to be doing this if all you have is 5 divines to your name and you can only afford 1 ring. This is not really a useful craft. You're going to want to do some of the mid-range levels to get your first 10, 20 div, and I'll go over that soon. So first things first with this, we are going to pull out our best friend, Greater Essence of Opulence, and we're going to slam rarity on all of this. The step is the same across all of them. There's nothing to really do, nothing to really follow. So now we're going to set the rings aside, and we're going to return our essences to their resting place. And here we have two good suffixes. So all we're doing, and the reason that we're not buying this with all res is we're going to catalyst, and you could do fire or lightning. Do not do cold, because cold weightings are screwed. With a perfect exalt, you can hit a tier 4 cold, whereas for the others, for the fire and the lightning, you can hit tier 3 or better. So cold is just strictly worse. So you do fire, lightning, catalyst on this, and then catalyzing exaltation. This is not guaranteed. I need you to hear me on this. This isn't guaranteed, which means it's a 50-50. When you catalyze it, the weightings get multiplied by 5. So instead of being 5,000 out of 40,000, it's like 25 out of 55. So it's not even, it's slightly less than the 50-50. And I'm approximating the weightings here. So this isn't a guaranteed, and this is the RNG craft. So you need to know this ahead of time. So all we're going to do is just slam all of these with fire. And we're going to catalyzing and suffix, and this is going to be a perfect exalt. Now, the reason it's a perfect exalt is it's minimum 50, and that goes tier 3 or better. And tier 3 or better is generally what sells. So we're going to do these first, because if they fail, we'll still finish the craft, but it's going to adjust whether we slam the prefix with a greater or perfect. If an item's really good, I slam it with a perfect just to guarantee some amount of value. So all res, great hit. Fire res, good enough. And cold res, good enough. All of these did well. Now, keep in mind, this is very lucky. We just won 3 50-50s in a row. And I guess that's just the recording/streamer client. Because when I was doing this alone, I would get life regen, I would get strength, I would get int, I would get dex, all sorts of garbage, even with this. So keep in mind, the garbage still sells. Now, when you got rarity, that means we are doing well already. The rest of this is fairly adjustable, and we can do a lot of different things to play with it. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the trash prefix. And the way to do that, I pulled out our best friend, the essence, again. And I guess I ran out of our sinistral crystallizations. I've been buying these in bulk. So let's go for 5 divine source of that, sure. And we're going to change this prefix. This is only going to touch prefixes. We only have one. It's shit on all of them. It's going to turn it into global defenses. So now we have 4 stat amulets. We got 112, we got 113, and 113 on suffixes. These are all res. These are going to be beautiful amulets. These are going to bring a bunch of money. So next step. We're going to catalyze defenses, and we're going to hit it once and see what happens. Now, there's a couple different approaches to this. You can catalyze it once, hit it with 1 perfect or 1 greater, and see what you get. And if you get something good, you collarbone, and then you're done. However, if you're only making 1 or 2 amulets, an argument can be made for catalyzing it, and then perfect exalt with a double exalt omen, so you can look at 2 prefixes. And if one of them is garbage, then you can hit it with a prefix collarbone to try to roll it off. So you get 2 looks instead of the just 1. Now, I have enough money to where if I feel like I need a second catalyzing, like if I hit armor, I will probably slam it again, and then gamba with the prefix omen with a collarbone. I'll show you. I'm hoping that one of these hits armor, so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. But this option is more about fixing a craft than it is going about a craft. So just for the purposes of this, all we're doing, defense mods, again, catalyzing, we turn off the suffix, we turn both of these on so that it takes from 1 of each. And because these are, if I hit some trash, I would be using greater exalts. Because this hit the res on the suffixes, and these are good items, I'm using perfect exalts, and also temple is ruining these prices anyway, so perfect exalts aren't that crazy expensive anymore. I was buying these at like a divine and a half almost per perfect exalt. So We got the defense modifiers. Now, there's 4 mods. They're very likely to do on the mods that we do hit. Most of the time, this is going to be hitting defense because defense is such a high weighting on the prefixes. There's flat ES, percent ES, evasion, and armor. Armor is a brick, which we have to fix. Flat ES is not great, so we want percent ES. Percent ES is a win, and EV is like a middle outcome. So flat ES and EV are middle outcomes. Armor is absolute garbage, and percent ES is what we want. So let's see what we get here. Now, we don't need any sort of omens because our suffixes are full. This is always going to hit a prefix, and here goes nothing. So percent EV, okay. Well, this one is just done. Like, we just collarbone. We roll for either spirit, we roll for rarity, we can roll for flat ES, or we can guarantee percent ES with body armor, and sometimes it comes up with, I believe, the Kurgal modifier. I'm going to look this up and just double check. But this amulet is done. This is money. This is probably 40 divines. This paid for the craft. This paid for everything. This is profit. Okay, we're done. This one right here pays for everything. Percent EV, not a big deal. Flat ES, not a big deal. Tier 4, kind of shit. So here's what we're doing. We're gonna, for the purposes of this, we're gonna catalyze this again. And we're gonna slam both of these again. Percent EV. Now, this one, I might just leave as is, because this is flat EV, percent EV global defenses. A monk will buy this. This is again in the money. So, got lucky on that one. Great. Percent evasion. Don't love it, so now this is where we gamble. The flat EV, the flat ES, not horrible. The percent EV, not horrible, but not exactly it. There's some value to be extracted out of here still. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ensure that this hits a prefix. We're gonna collarbone. So we have 3 outcomes. This is either going to hit global defenses, evasion, or energy shield. If it hits global defenses, we're going to slap that bitch with an essence and hope that it hits the evasion, because we're okay with a flat ES. We might be able to roll for percent ES. We might leave it with a flat ES and some rarity or something. Whatever we end up rolling for, there's some options there. And if we really want to drive it home, we can always Omen of Light. Though I don't recommend it when you do it for profit. You just gamble once, you take what you got. And if everything else is perfect, fine, roll for 1 mod. But if everything else is not perfect, which it isn't here, I wouldn't mess with it. Now, on this amulet, after I collarbone it with a global defenses and percent EV, I might Omen of Light on this one because there's money in this. There's value. All the other mods are great. Tier 3 cold res, if this was tier 1, I would probably roll this either for spirit or rarity on the prefix for as long as it takes. With tier 3 cold, I might throw an Omen of Light or 2 out of it. So here, let's do our Gamba. So this hit the essence, which is fine. We can pull out our essence and we essence it again. And now it hit the evasion, the flat ES is gone, not great. We roll it once and we call it a day. So this one's going to get 1 Omen. This one, I'm honestly leaving it done because it's got the percent ES, the global defense is flat ES. Somebody's going to love this. This is going straight for sale. And then this particular one, we're going to collarbone it. There's an open prefix. We don't need to do anything. We can turn all this stuff off. So here's our open prefix. Ta-da, done. We're going to go roll these 2. Now, before we go roll those, we're going to do our rings. You can already guess the same method. We're going to catalyst fire. We're going to hit it. If we get something great, our suffixes are done. If we don't get anything useful, then whatever, we can still salvage it. Now, for the prefixes, we already have 1 good flat. We're going to slam a 2nd good flat with the physical catalyst. We're gonna use physical modifiers. So now people might think, okay, let's go reaver because that's attacks, but accuracy is the highest weighting. And it has an attack tag. So anytime you Reaver Catalyst, and Reaver Catalyst is expensive as shit, you Reaver Catalyst this, you slam it, you're almost guaranteed accuracy. That it pops up so often and it ruins the craft, you can't get it off. Well, with physical, the only thing that weighs is physical, and the physical weighting itself on the flats is like 2 or 3 times what the elemental is. So it's just that much more likely to do it. So the physical catalysts are the way to go for the prefixes. But we're going to do the suffixes first. So we got cold and we got lightning, which means we can hit this with a fire res. Now the other reason I didn't talk to you about why we're doing the fire catalyst is because when the fire tag is not only on the fire res itself, but it's also on the all res, which means that 50-50 we're talking about, it can hit either all res or fire res on 50% of the time. This is also the reason why we're not buying all res rings, because then we remove that out of the modifier. And this is the reason why we're not using a lightning catalyst. The lightning res would be just as fine. Like on this one, we could use lightning catalyst because it already has cold. And remember, we never use cold in this method because of cold res weightings. Now, the reason we're doing fire is we want whichever one we don't have to maximize our chances of this bringing us the desired outcome. So we're again going to go suffix, we're going to go catalyzing exaltation, we're going to slam 2 perfects at it. Lightning res tier 2 on a fire, sure, I'll take it. See, it hit something else, but it was still good. Finally, we got our failure. Int on a suffix, not great, not bad. All this means is that we're slamming the prefix with a greater exalt orb here, and we're slamming the prefix with a perfect one there. So we're going to do our catalyzations and see what we get on these. And again, this isn't deterministic part. You're gambling on 2 50-50s, and then you're gambling on the collarbone reveals. So the way to make money with these is to make 10 rings, and 2 of them or 1 of them will pay for the entire amount, and then the rest is profit. So you have to do this on a large enough sample size. This isn't going to, you just make 1 ring, you could screw yourself. So be very careful. Don't just make 1. You got to do more than that. So we got our catalyzing up. We're going to hit this one with a greater because it's trash. It hits tier 5. If we hit it with a perfect, it would be tier 4, but that's okay. We're just going to do this one with a perfect, and it's probably going to miss. It didn't. That was a T2. So this ring is in the money again. So there we go. Now all we're going to do is collarbone it and go to roll it. And of course, we're going to go collarbone this one and go to roll it. Now, rolling is expensive. I'm going to take some Omens of Light with me. I got just a couple here. We got some of these, and I probably need to buy some collarbones before we go down there in the interest of saving some time. So let's just go 2 divs of collarbones, 1 div of collarbones. Come on. There we go. Alright, and some prefix omens just in case we decide to do something frisky. Here we go. So now we're going to look at value assessment here on the reveals. And this should be fairly simple. This is a great amulet. This one I am prepared to roll. Now, before I use my Omens of Light, I'm going to look through all of these and see what happens. So we're going to turn on the reroll and see what we get. So flat ES, armor, minions, I don't care. That's too low of a tier. We're re-rolling that every single time. Evasion from body armor, deflection. None of this is great. We're going to click on evasion, and that one is our first Omen of Light candidate because that amulet is good enough to dump maybe 10 divines worth of Omens of Light into it, because if this gets rarity, if this gets spirit, if this gets a higher tier of flat EV, this is going to be really, really good. Now, the one that was actually successful, we're going to price this, and this is, mind you, not catalysted, so we're setting this to 25. This one's going to go to 12 of the minimum. This is 45 for tier 1. I'm actually going to price it as low as tier 2. 48 all res, sure, and this one's going to go to 15. So this is not that expensive. This is not a 288 div amulet. It hasn't sold for 2 days. It's got flat ES tier 1. It's got percent ES tier 2. Somebody's dreaming. This is never going to sell for 288 divines. This is like a 40 divine amulet-ish. But let's just say we go even down to 35. Let's go to 50 here. the global defenses. We're going to go to the min roll and then see what happens here with like 48 elemental res. Still nothing. I lowered to 35. Now we're talking. So now we got a sample size. Pricing this. This is tier 3. So ours is better than this. 25, 30, 35 divines there. Is it better than this? It's maybe comparable, but this hasn't sold for 4 days. This isn't sold for 2 days. So I think 40 divines is too much for that amulet. I'm going to start it at 30 to 35, and it'll probably sell around 30. 28 to 32 is what I'm expecting this to sell at, just based on the market size. So this 30 divs pays for this entire thing. So now we got walking around money we can play. You can adjust your craft plans. So let's say I didn't have one that hit. I might be hesitant to do the Omens of Light on here, to wait until I could see if I hit on something. If I hit on something and I know I got money coming back from this craft, I can adjust it and polish up some items. If this is rough and I'm in need of money, I'm literally I got enough money to craft 3 rings, 2 amulets. I have no other money in the league. I'm going to roll them once, I'm going to see what I get, and I'm going to sell them and try to salvage profits. And if something really nice sells, I might pull out some of those items and then go refinish them later. So remember, the crafting isn't static. You can adjust what you're doing. So this one's going to get Omen of Lighted for sure. We got EV and global defenses on here. This is our problem stepchild amulet. So we're going to see, we're searching for percent ES first and foremost. We get absolutely nothing. Which means that we kind of have to Omen of Lighted to salvage any value on there. So I guess that's that. These rings, the one with intelligence, I'm going to roll it once. I get what I get. And if it sucks, then it sucks. So we're taking the life here. Somebody might want life on their ring, and that's it. I'm not rolling this ring because of that id suffix with Omens of Light. Now, this ring with tier 2 prefixes, I will probably roll this because these are all tier 2s except the rarity. This is a fine enough ring to bring a good amount of value. So we're going to want to put this in the Omen of Light category there. So this is done and this is done and this is going to get Omen of Lighted. So this is the section where I don't necessarily recommend you do this unless you have the money. This is where you throw away a lot of money. Now, for if I didn't have money, I have percent ES, I have global defenses, and I have EV from body armor. This one I would sell. But since we have a little bit of walking around money, we're going to go ahead and just Omen of Light all these puppies. And collarbone all of them. And I didn't bring enough reroll elements. Lovely. So, let me not screw myself. So I'm going to set that one aside. Let's see what we get here. Armor from body, useless. Deflection rating, evasion rating. So we can hit the EV and think about selling this. Omens of Light are currently expensive. I don't know that I necessarily want to get too frisky with it. We don't want to roll the amulet. We want to roll the ring. Too low tier. Again, too low tier, so we're gonna go get the rerolls and see what we get here. Let's go divines. This is going to rerolls. Sure, give me 10. That'll do. Alright, our rerolls are on. Our minion spell damage, don't care. There we go. Percent ES, high tier. We are clicking that. And we've saved it. It max rolled. Sure enough, we have percent EV with ES, and we have percent EV with ES. We have 2 identical amulets. These should sell for 20-ish divs. But we're going to look at all of this. We're going to set this to minimum. Let's go 30 there. Let's go 20 there because that's all very easily divinable. Let's go 40 here plus 3. This is 15 and 33 all res. Sure. Nobody has that. Great. So let's price it without the EV. And then there we go. So somebody might really like this with EV, but I'm guessing, again, 20, 25, 30, somewhere there. This has armor for 29. Somebody listed it. It's got ES and armor. Now, for something like this, I would probably annul Gamba it with a prefix or something. I would definitely annul Gamba this with a prefix. I don't know that this ever sells for 29. I think this is overpriced. But here we got percent ESEV, kind of lower tiers, 17. This one, a really good deal. Somebody's going to snap this up. I think ours is a little bit better. EV is better than the flat ES. And our ES percent tier is going to go up a lot once we quality it. So those are going to be important distinctions because this is 3-3 and we have 1 on the percent ES, and that's kind of huge. So we have these already set up and priced. Now on to the expensive, painful part. So this ring hates us, but this ring is also going to bring us money. So we are going to hopefully hit something decent here. We're looking for rarity. We're looking for flat ES. Because this ring is good enough, I'm not taking life on it. So this is just an everyday part of my day where I just delete a bunch of currency on these rerolls. Yep. We are hitting absolutely nothing. 1 to 41 lightning. Now, this is a good idea to do this. All we're doing here is we're pulling up the modifier list, POEDB, and we're going to go to rings. So top end was 41 on lightning. I don't remember lightning mods off the top of my head. So we're going to go to flat lightning. And 41 is tier 3, the mineral of tier 3. We are taking that shit and we are running with it. Because this is gonna eat up the rest of our money. And now we have T2, T2, T3. We got good prefixes. This ring is going to bring some money even if we don't price on set. We're going to go 75. We're going to go 15 here. The lightning, probably 20. This is going to go 14 and this is 22. So these rings, you notice how none of these are unsets and none of these are gold rings. So that's why we craft on unsets and gold rings. We get to unsets and gold rings and they start to be stupid. Now this is 113 and ours is 223. So this isn't a 70 div ring on the unset, although I might start it at 60 or 70 because unsets are really hard to come by. Nobody makes them, so they become expensive as shit. So we probably got 60 divs in amulets. We got another 40 divs in this ring, and I'm guessing that this puppy will probably go for like 10-ish. I would say 10-ish is probably fair. That's a really high life roll, so we're going to price that at 90. We're going to go res at 35. We're not going to price the int. We're going to go 15 on here. Let's go 25 and 10, sure. So, a couple of divs, but you click unset, all of a sudden, 5 divines. Fair enough. I think we spent 5 divines for the entire craft, so this pays itself, and we can get out of it scot-free. So that's that. We're going to list everything, and we're going to make some money with that, and let me know which other ideas that you want in the comments. If you do care to comment, I would appreciate it. But let me know what sort of videos you want to make. I am thinking about making how I made my first 20 divines this league and how to get your league start really well, because I was in tier 3 maps and I had 100 divines to my name, and I think anybody could do this, and I would love to share how I did that and how that works for you guys. Appreciate you. Peace.